Well, babe, you're officially a mom.
And you're officially a dad.
So my wife, Angela, is definitely my favorite blogger and YouTuber extraordinaire, and she's a pretty amazing wife, I must add.
And my guess is that a lot of you may have seen my husband Matt on TV or in the movies, Wyatt from Timeless, Liam from 90210, anyone? Chicago from Pitch Perfect 3. I mean, he's bringing the sexy.
All right. So if you guys didn't know, Angela and I created a podcast called Hello Bump to chronicle our journey as expecting first-time parents.
We really just started it for something for us to look back on, but we ended up really loving our weekly chat.
Yeah, so much so that we couldn't stop there. I mean, now is the fun part, right? Now is the payoff for the 9 months of pregnancy. Now is where our life begins.
We have a brand new, beautiful baby girl, and we are so in love.
And we want you guys to come on this new journey with us of figuring out, frankly, how to raise this little thing.
We know it's going to be tough at times, but we also know the rewards are great.
We're going to be chatting week to week about the joys and the struggles of learning how to do this parenting thing.
I'm pretty sure we're going to mess up a lot.
But from every mistake comes a lesson that we can pass on to you. So join us in this wild ride as we undertake our newest challenge, parenthood.
Hello, baby.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to a brand new episode of
Hello, baby. I cut you off.
Podcast. Good job.
Thanks.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have so cleverly, I should say Angela, has so cleverly decided to name this episode the mother of all episodes.
Are you going to do something like very Star Wars to your voice and like while you're editing?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. The reason is because we thought that we would talk a little bit about mothers, in honor of Mother's Day this past weekend. How appropriate, right? I mean, it's Hello Baby podcast. It's all about kids and moms and dads. We gotta honor thy mother. Don't you think?
I guess that like really goes in line with what we're going to talk about today too, the way you just laid that out there.
Yes, it does. But hey, real quickly, before we roll the intro and get started, how was your Mother's Day?
It was spent, the most of the day was spent at a car dealership.
That's true.
So other than that, it was great, but I hate car shopping.
We have an upcoming move, as if you guys have been listening or you follow us on social media, you know, we're moving to Toronto for a while to film a new project. Of course, Angela, the baby, coming with me. And there's a whole car situation with our car in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lease right now through a company. It's a Land Rover lease.
Mm-hmm.
And supposedly we can't take that into the Canada without getting permission. And the permission was going to take a long time to get and blah, 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 and crossing the border and blah, blah, blah. Bottom line
just a whole
is
debacle, honestly.
Bottom line is we got another car to take to the East Coast with us.
Yeah.
And it was under a time constraint. And it got thrown at us at the last second, like a few days ago. We had no idea we even needed a new car, but it did. And so I have spent every waking
countless hours, it feels like,
researching cars, family decisions. I'm talking like, cubic feet of storage space. Hey, we're parents now. We got to think about this stuff. Where's the stroller going to go? Where does the car seat fit? So I'm researching all of that stuff. Oh my gosh. And it wasn't expected. And come on. I mean, obviously we all know buying a car is a huge financial decision. So, and I don't take those decisions lightly. I get stressed about them, especially when I'm under the gun. Bottom line is we got the car.
We did.
We love it. It's great.
With minimal drama.
I think it's going to be perfect for our needs. And we're good to go. And, I'm pretty sure we can cross the border, no problem, and keep it in Canada as long as we like and bring it back to the U.S. as long as we like. It's ours. So we're going to do what we want with it. Take that, Border Patrol. Did you ever watch that Border Patrol show with me, by the way?
No. Well, a little bit we did.
Last time...
I think it kind of stressed me out.
It was pretty easy going. Last time we lived in Canada, I was interested in how does this whole border thing work? They have a show can't remember where I saw it. It might be on Netflix or like, A&E or something like that. And it's like a Canadian Border Patrol. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like a cops for the Canada-US border. Just kind of cool.
The majority of episodes seem to deal with either alcohol or drugs coming across the border, it felt like to me.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. Obviously we're not dealing with any of that. The most trouble we're going to get in is they're going to be like, are you trying to stay here for work?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be like, no, I'm not. Anyhow, that was a long digression. Got a car. We're good to go.
Yes.
So that was Angela's Mother's Day. But, she got a nice gift out of it, too. Got her nice Mother's Day gift.
Mm-hmm.
We had some flowers got delivered to here. And
yeah, and you delivered flowers to my mom, which was so sweet.
yeah, had some chocolates and a card.
You did good.
Kenny signed it.
She did. That was the cutest thing ever.
Yeah. So that was Angela's Day. Probably not the best Mother's Day out there. Unfortunately, it was a necessity.
I feel more sorry for my mom's Mother's Day because she had McKinley all day because we were trying to make these decisions. So
Yeah. She's been a champ with the baby
I know.
as far as this past few days and probably over the next few days too as we continue to count down here to the actual move. But nonetheless, you are appreciated, babe, even though your day was not an amazing Mother's Day.
it was good.
Thanks for hanging in there.
Thank you.
Okay, without further ado, I think we should roll this beautiful bean footage and get started. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Roll it.
Springtime is here, and you know what time that is? It's time to spring clean. And where do I love to get my spring cleaning products from?
Grove.
I love Grove. I love Grove because they make getting healthy products for your home easy. They're accessible, they're affordable, and they're baby safe, family safe, they're you safe. Because when I'm cleaning, I don't want to sit there and inhale all these toxic scents and everything like that. I want to make sure that my home smells safe too. Does that make sense? I don't even know.
No, it does not.
Well, recently I purchased a ton of goodies from Grove because it just makes it so easy to just click a button and I have a box full of all of my favorite things, especially Mrs. Meyer's. And my favorite scent is finally here. It's peony. I love peony
What's
scent
your
in
favorite
spring.
flower?
Well, it's your mom's scent too. She always sends me a text and she's like, peony's in. So I love that. Get this exclusive Mrs. Meyer's offer from Grove before it runs out. So all you have to do is select your favorite spring scents, which are peony, lilac, and mint. And new customers will get a free cleaning set in these limited edition scents when you place your first order of $20. So you get a free Mrs. Meyer's spring hand soap, spring dish soap, spring multi-surface spray, Grove Collaborative spring cleaning caddy, and then a Grove Collaborative walnut scrubber sponge as well.
Try Grove now before the exclusive spring offer runs out. For a limited time, our listeners get a 3-piece cleaning set from Mrs. Meyer Spring Scents, a free 60-day VIP membership, and a surprise bonus gift just for you when you sign up and place an order of $20 or more.
Check out Grove and our special offer at grove.co/baby. That's grove.co/baby. grove.co/baby.
Alrighty, we're back. So, in honor of Mother's Day, Angela and I thought, clearly we need to talk about mothers. And this is going to be a little bit of a different episode, I suppose. What we thought we would do is actually talk about 10 of the most extraordinary mothers of the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we know there are extraordinary mothers all over the world, all throughout time. I'm sure you listening, you probably are an extraordinary mother or you had an extraordinary mother. But, we thought this was kind of cool. I mean, this is a very historic thing. Obviously, Angela and I are Christian. And if you're Christian, obviously, all of this applies to you. And even if you're not, I suppose that these stories still apply.
I just think they're interesting.
It's still history. I don't know. Maybe if you're a doubter out there, that's okay. But you might have a hard time believing some of the things that have happened as to why they are listed as extraordinary mothers, but we just thought it was a cool way, to change it up. This is not meant to be a a sermon.
Mm-mm.
Angela and I are not pastors.
Nope.
However, she did grow up in a Christian school and has a lot more, what I feel like biblical knowledge, like Old Testament knowledge than I do.
Well,
But
I mean, it's truly because I went to Christian school from 1st to 12th grade,
Yeah.
So I had to take Old Testament in high school. I had to take New Testament in high school. And all of our curriculum had biblical stories intertwined in it. So
You hear that jet going by?
it's loud.
We should
Doesn't
close
get
the
that
windows,
window.
huh?
I don't know, but that breeze feels so nice right now. So
We're not we're not podcasting from an airport.
Nope.
We're actually at our house. Anyhow, that's what today's going to be, is talking a little bit about these women. And before that, I found this really interesting. Okay. I do my current event stuff.
yes.
This sort of falls in a current event category, I suppose.
Okay.
On usatoday.com, there was a big Happy Mother's Day thing, and the headline really is why American moms are seriously struggling. The analysis says economic, cultural, and technological changes have piled on new pressures for moms. So there was a lot. This is a very long, detailed article. A lot of really interesting stats here, and I kind of want to just go over some of this and talk about it.
Okay.
It just says American mothers are struggling. We celebrate moms who work to meet society's demands, who overextend and fill in the gaps, who never cease to sacrifice for those they love. But is this the version of motherhood to revere? 1975, more than half of mothers stayed home with their kids. Today, both parents work in 70% of families with children. Childcare costs an average of $12,000 to $13,900 a year. Some cities, it's double that. I would have to assume in LA, it is probably almost double that.
Mm-hmm.
Dads are taking on more parenting responsibilities than ever, but surveys show it's still unequal in more than half of households, even with both parents work full time. Nearly half of grandparents live more than 5 hours from their grandkids. I believe that. I mean, obviously, that does apply to us.
It does apply to us, but it never applied to me growing up. I was telling you that.
What were you telling me? That all 4 or 3 of your grandparents were within 5 minutes of you?
Mm-hmm. At one, so my dad's parents were divorced, but my grandma lived about less than 5-minute drive from us, and then my papa lived about 5-minute drive, and then my mom's mom, she moved so many times, but there were multiple times that she lived within a 5-minute drive. For a while when I was in high school, she lived on our street. Did you know that?
I think I did know that.
Yeah,
And
she
then-
actually lived on our.
But even growing up, when I said growing up, I mean, when I met you, even in your late teens and 20s, your mama, literally lived like 2 streets over,
And
walkable.
Papa lived close too.
Yeah, I mean, you were really lucky to have.
And both of them helped. Well, when I was really little, Mama lived with us.
Yeah, you were just really lucky to have that so close.
Mm-hmm.
When I was very young, my grandma lived in the same town as us, my mom's mom in Ohio, but I left when I was 8. And then my other grandparents, they lived, my grandpa was in Ohio, my other grandpa and grandma were in South Georgia. I did not grow up with that.
Yeah,
So-
that's all I knew growing up.
Angela and I, we do apply to that category. We would love to change that. We would love our grandparents to live in the same city or town or near McKinley. We really, really are hoping to change that in the future.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
Well, my mom is with us now.
Yes. It's kind of a temporary thing, sort of thing.
Yeah.
We're not sure yet.
Well, we're hoping.
We're figuring it out.
We're hoping.
That it's permanent. you
Yeah,
mean.
that it's permanent. Yeah. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Because it's just our lives changed significantly when she came out to help us.
Yes. Okay. Moms in 2016 spent 14 hours a week outside work on childcare, up from 10 hours a week in 1965. So work demands are getting harder. Social media is persuasive, this says. Research shows mothers who frequently compare themselves to others on social media feel more depressed, less confident, less positive.
That's not a mom thing. That's a human thing.
It is a human thing, but I do believe it's true. Of course, we've talked all about social media. We've talked about mom shaming comparisons, and I think it's true. So this is just adding to making it harder to be a mom nowadays.
Yeah.
It says no wonder moms are stressed. People think motherhood is inherently overwhelming because we've made that idea seem natural. We normalize the hardships of motherhood. This is now what's familiar to us. But it's sort of saying that it shouldn't be. Oh, of course, there's all sorts of stats about paid leave and maternity leave. I really won't go into that because we did cover a lot of that. But basically this, in previous episodes, but basically a lot of this is outlining how the U.S. stinks at paid leave and just maternity leave and of course paternity leave. There's just nothing
just
usually.
Protection for parents in general.
Yeah. U.S. ranks near the bottom for spending on early childhood education and care. Estonia, Portugal, Japan, they're all above us. Denmark, France, Norway, Sweden. It's there's just so many countries above us. Let's see. Dads are doing more, but moms still do the most. Despite dads spending more time on childcare than they did half a century ago, 40% of moms being the breadwinner in their 40% of moms being the breadwinner in their families, more than half of two-parent households with both parents work say moms do more to manage day to day.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I actually don't personally know a stay-at-home dad. I would really like to experience that dynamic, like how that works for a couple. You know what I mean? Like I know a lot of stay-at-home moms, but I don't know any stay-at-home dads.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a really sad stat if it isn't, of course, true. Not what I'm about to say. Women are paid less than men. We kind of all have heard that. Even in the same jobs. But research shows the wage gap is worse for women with children.
That's terrible.
Who face a steep, what they're calling, mommy tax. They're saying motherhood is tied to a 4% decrease in earnings per child, while fatherhood is tied to a 6% increase. That was according to a 2014 study. That's terrible.
That's BS. That's what you were going to say.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It's true.
Yeah. It takes a village. Where's mine? I think that just kind of pointing out that nowadays we have less support from, I guess, others,
family.
Friends, family, neighbors.
Well, when you think about it, I read a lot of historical fiction and stuff like that. I love historical books, and they always talk about how the moms were just surrounded by their moms and their mother-in-laws and the sisters and the cousins, and there's just so much help, and that's just not that's just not the case anymore because women have to work.
This is pointing out, the mom shaming thing and social media and how it's harder now. The comparisons to others, the social media, again, we've talked all about this, but they point out, Kylie Jenner and Olivia Wilde for kissing her son on the lips and Chrissy Teigen for holding her daughter wrong. That moms with social media now are under more scrutiny. Let's see. It says
it's almost like it's just people wanting to just constantly throw the blame. Like they want to see somebody else who is famous or whatever doing something wrong and call them out to feel better about themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a fear due to the flood of health scares and negative news that comes through social media. 3 in 4 parents say school shootings or possibility of one is significant stress, a source of stress. This was not true of the previous generations. These are things as parents we all have to deal with now and think about and figure out.
Yeah.
They're trying to normalize breastfeeding rallies. There's actually a picture here of a woman at a breastfeeding rally, and she's she's got it. Of course she's breastfeeding, and the poor kid probably doesn't want to breastfeed in the moment. Can you imagine that? She's like, I'm in a rally. You have to do it. And he's like, no, Mom, I'm not hungry.
Well, she's holding his head down. You can see that. You can see by that picture.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
She's literally holding his head. Like, get on there. Anyway, uh, we can move on from this
Well,
soon here.
I wanted to bring up something actually
Please,
I
go.
saw yesterday. I didn't get to spend a whole lot of time on the internet yesterday, being Mother's Day, but I did notice one thing that popped out to me, and the Today Show, I actually follow them on Facebook, and they posted an article, and I don't have it right now in front of me, but I just wanted to bring this up because I thought this was interesting. But they were talking about the how stay-at-home mom depression is a real thing. I never even heard of that term. But I thought that was interesting because I can see that. I can see that being hard on somebody because you feel secluded, you know?
Sure.
And you feel like the only thing that the only person you're talking to is a child who is like jibber jabbering at you all day.
Yeah.
And, you know, and you just feel exhausted, and you've probably, you know, don't see the outside of the four walls of your house if the weather's bad and stuff like that. So I thought that was really interesting because I didn't know that was even something that terminology, you know, but I can totally see it being a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree. I mean, and you'd have to think that, you know, early on when you have the baby, and let's say you're in a situation where your husband works and you are at home with the baby, everything's changed. Your life has changed. Your daily life has changed. Your routines have changed. Of course, your responsibilities have changed. And when they're little, babies don't give much back in terms of just like emotionally. They don't give much back to you.
Right.
I mean, they're like little slugs for a while.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I mean, it differs for everybody. Obviously, you guys probably know, but you know, I don't know. First 8 months of their life, there might not be a whole lot of give back. So what I'm getting at is that a new mother, new situation, new stresses, everything's changed. You're giving everything of yourself, and you're not getting anything in return. It's got to be particularly hard. I know my sister went through, and she had twin boys, and she was at home by herself a lot. And I do remember her saying that it's tough because, you know, you just have to, you give all of yourself. And you're just not getting much reciprocation from the baby, just in terms of, I mean, even physically at first. I mean, they don't even look at you at first because they're still developing their eyes, and just, you know, so it's really, really tough. I will end this little segment here with one particular stat that I thought was really interesting. And so if you're a stay-at-home mom, really, if you're a mom at all, give yourself some credit, because a new study says motherhood is the same. Well, let me just say, you know how people say, oh, being a mom is a full-time job, right? Wrong. The study says being a mom is the same as working 2.5 full-time jobs.
I 100% believe that.
I do too.
You have to constantly be on your toes with little ones.
So kudos to all you mothers out there. Kudos to the mother right in front of me here on the other microphone. You guys are all or I should say you ladies are all rock stars. And we could not be more appreciative to have you amazing women here on this earth.
Where would you be without us?
Well, I wouldn't be here, that's for sure.
Oh, boy.
Okay. Shall we get into talking about some of these women of the Bible?
Yeah, let's kick it off.
Look, again, I don't want to feel like I'm giving a sermon here. If you're not interested in hearing this, you know, go ahead and shut the podcast off. It's been nice having you, and we'll see you next week. I just want to be sensitive to anyone who's like, whoa, this isn't a, you know, what is this? A Bible study? Are you playing your game on your phone? Turn your phone around right now and let me see the screen. Do it. No, you just swiped up.
I am listening. I was not expecting you to want a response from me for that particular thing. Here's the thing. Everybody who listens to this podcast or follows us knows that we're Christians. They know that we believe. We're not preachers. We're just talking about something that was interesting to us. That's all. We're just sharing.
Can I go back to you playing this video game?
I don't know what you're talking about.
First of all, I feel like this podcast is about 3/4 me and 1/4 you. Do you listeners agree out there? Leave some comments. I talk way too much.
I don't think that's the case at all.
Second of all, Just last night, we had a marital about you playing the stinking game. Let me give you 2 examples that happened just yesterday. Okay, I get it. It's Mother's Day. It's her day. She can do what she wants. I just want to point this out. Number one, we're at the car dealership. We're purchasing a car. The finance officer is literally going through all of our options, our numbers, our things. You have to sign like literally 18 signatures. He's talking to this stuff.
More than that.
And Angela's doing some signing stuff too. And she's playing freaking Tetris or whatever it is on her phone.
Tetris. I don't play. Well, I like Tetris, but I'm not playing Tetris.
In between signatures, she's playing an app,
Mm-hmm.
a Tetris game.
And did I miss a beat on anything?
No, you didn't.
Right.
But he called you out. Well, I called you out, and then he got on board. Okay.
But I never miss anything. Like I can be the person who's typing an email and watching a TV show and still have to explain to you what's going on in the TV show.
Speaking of TV shows, example number 2, last night.
Oh, here we go.
Big Game of Thrones. It's the pre-finale. Well,
actually, I'm glad I was doing something to take my mind off of that because I went to bed very anxious last night.
Look, no spoilers for those who haven't seen it yet. Big Game of Thrones episode. It's the episode before the finale of the entire series. Big battle scenes. I'm engrossed. We got the fireplace on. We've got the couch.
I was anxious.
We got our blankets out. We've got the couch pushed together. We made a little pallet for ourselves. It's kind of nice, romantic, maybe, if you will, if Game of Thrones watching can be romantic in any way. Possibly.
Probably not when you're seeing heads fly.
Well, probably. But we were, cozied up on the couch.
Right.
Deep into this. The battle has begun. Daenerys Targaryen, Khaleesi's flying her dragon around. I look over, Angela's playing Tetris. I'm like, what the actual F are you doing?
Wow. That was intense.
I said F.
I think you're being like a little bit too dramatic here.
And you're still playing your game.
I am not.
Oh, excuse me. Now you're scrolling social media. My wife has social media and phone problems. You have phone addiction problems. We're going to do a whole episode on that. Oh, boy. Anyway, we need a counseling session before we take off.
You do.
Okay, moving on. Having McKinley was pretty much the most amazing thing we've ever done, but having to take her out shopping, not quite so amazing. Babe, you had a little experience with this lately?
Ugh. Yes, the last time I took her shopping, she had a meltdown in the middle of the store. It was awful.
Well,
you weren't there to experience it, so it's funny to you.
Well, that's what happens with kids and you take them out. That's why we are thrilled to tell you about a new sponsor of today's podcast, Rockets of Awesome. It's going to make you fall in love with shopping for clothes for your kids and with them too. You can do it online. Their amazing quality of clothing delivers consistent value and quality. It's on trend, stylish, affordable prices, one-of-a-kind items. It's super soft. Some of them are glow in the dark, reflective, sequins. Your kids are going to love it.
They're the cutest designs. Like so unique, so fun.
Yeah. And just the experience is kind of fun that you can get online with your kid and pick out clothing. Of course, McKinley's a little young for that, but we are excited when she does get to that age because they can get on and look and see what they want. And you know what you're going to get? They're going to like.
And it's for boys and girls, sizes 3 to 12.
Yeah. And the customer service is awesome too. It just makes shopping easy and fun. I wanted to show you something real quick here, Angela, on the Rockets of Awesome website. I wanted to show you these goggles they have for summer. They've got so
Those
much
are so fun.
butterfly goggles. There was a boys one and it had spikes all over it. And I sort of almost maybe want it for myself. They have sprinkles goggles for girls.
So fun.
Monster
Yeah.
goggles.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can go in there and shop for, if you're going on like summer vacation to the beach or camp. They got all these clothes for your kids. You guys are absolutely gonna love it. Thanks to Rockets of Awesome, what used to be painful, going to the store, changing room tantrums, long checkout lines, can now be simple, fun, and delightfully stylish experience for you and your kids.
Check out the latest styles at rocketsofawesome.com and use my promo code BABY for 15% off your first purchase today. That's rocketsofawesome.com, promo code BABY for 15% off your first order.
rocketsofawesome.com, promo code BABY. Let's talk guide to the top 10 most extraordinary mothers of the Bible. Do you want to read these? Because again, I feel like I'm just talking way too much
No,
here.
because you're familiar with it. I want to chime in.
Okay, fine. Chime in. I got this article. This is not my own research. It's not my biblical research. This is an article from crosswalk.com. It's a pretty popular Christian website. They do a lot of devotionals, a lot of things,
That's who I get my daily devotionals through.
Yeah,
Crosswalk. I love
super
that.
educational Christian website, if you never heard of it. Let's just start. Again, we got 10 here. Let's start in the beginning. Number 1, Sarah, the mother who waited. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to go through and read exactly what they wrote, or maybe some of them I will. Sarah was the wife of Abraham.
Right.
God tells Abraham to look at the stars in the sky, for that would be the number of his offspring. Abraham and Sarah waited 15 years before God renewed his promise, and 10 more years before the promise was fulfilled, and Sarah bore a son, Isaac. Now, this doesn't say, but Angela, do you know how old Sarah was? Because Sarah was exceptionally old.
Wasn't she in her 90s?
It was something like that.
I think it was 90s. I'm pretty sure.
If you guys are not Bible followers, you don't know the stories. People in the Bible in these Old Testament times, I mean, they lived a long, long time.
I think that they're leaving out a very important part of the story. Do you remember that she had him sleep with her maidservant?
Well, that's coming.
Oh, sorry.
Yes. But she was childless. I think her name was Sarai, and then God renamed her
to Sarah.
It's
just like Abram was then changed to Abraham.
Yes. So, they were laughing at the idea. Sarah was laughing at the idea, but kept faithful, and God fulfilled his promise. And so that is why she has been brought up as an extraordinary mother, because she waited and waited and waited and kept faithful, and God delivered a son. Isaac would go on to continue the legacy of his father, Abraham. Okay, number 2.
So Sarah was 90 or 91 when Isaac was born, and she died at the age of 127. But she was 90 when Isaac was conceived.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Do you think, or do you know, because I don't, I have to assume we aged much, much, much slower back then. I mean, because what was Moses, like 900 or something?
No, that was Methuselah.
So,
I can't remember how old Abraham was.
10 years old, we're looking pretty decrepit. We're moving pretty slow nowadays. So, this woman's having babies at 90.
I mean, this is under the old covenant. I think things were just different,
Well, right. I mean, clearly.
I wanted to see how old Abraham was when he had Isaac, too.
He was, yeah.
I'm having a hard time narrowing that down, though. It's not something that's like...
That's fine.
I think 99. I think he was around 99.
Was he?
No, he was 100. He was 100 when Isaac was born, is what I'm seeing in one place. So,
yeah,
you get the general idea, people.
100
they were old as dirt, both of them.
Good as time as ever to become a father. I mean, we were just knocking on Richard Gere, wasn't it, for being like 70 or something, or 75 and having a kid?
Yeah, but life expectancies are much shorter now, so it's a very big difference, distinct difference.
Right. Moving on to number 2. It's Hagar, right?
The maidservant?
Excuse me. Yeah.
Yes.
Hagar was an Egyptian slave and maidservant to Sarah, the wife of Abraham. She didn't have much to say about anything, especially not in becoming Abraham's wife, because Sarah couldn't have kids.
She wasn't his wife. She was his concubine. Wasn't she? They didn't officially get married, I don't believe.
Did they not? Well, it says...
I don't think so.
Well, it says, though her status changed, she was still secondary to Sarah.
I think she was his concubine.
I don't know. I don't know if they actually got married or not.
I don't believe so.
Isn't that wild, the idea of a concubine?
I would kill you.
Angela has told me... I shouldn't even say this. This is going to make you look really bad to people. Angela has told me that if she dies...
I know what you're going to say.
She's told me that if she dies, I have to die too. Or if I don't...
You better dig too.
I am not to get remarried and be happy. She does not want me to be happy and get remarried.
I just said that if I die, I want you to get in the casket with me. That's all.
Excuse me. I'm getting a phone call, and it's not from my mother, so I'm gonna let that one go. If it was, I'd have to answer it because Mother's Day. Okay, so
By the way, guys, I'm only being partially serious with those statements. I don't want to get any hate mail.
I think partially is a key word here. We need to have a big talk about this, because if something were, God forbid, to happen, and the last thing you told me is that you do not want me to get remarried, I'm going to struggle with this. I don't know what
I think
to do.
I'm going to just really need to have some say in who you remarry,
That's going to be tough.
because I don't want just anyone raising my daughter.
I'm going to have to buy a Ouija board, and you're going to have to communicate with us.
I'll figure it out.
Okay.
I'm going to leave very distinct instructions for you, that she needs to be this height,
What?
this age.
Can she be pretty?
Perhaps. I'll have to think about that.
You like don't want her to be pretty, because you don't want to be me to be like more attracted to her than I was to you.
Oh, that would like hurt, man.
It's got to be really.
Would you like that? Would you like if you died and I married somebody and I was more attracted to my second husband than you?
I mean, I don't know. I'd be in heaven. I don't even know if I'd know about it.
Wouldn't that be awful?
I have a really tough time with the whole like, who are we going to see in heaven kind of a deal.
Well, they say marriage doesn't exist in heaven, which I just don't believe that.
I can't get it. Look, I don't want to get off topic here too much. This is a big discussion that we could have about that, but like, I don't get it. Like, do you see the people you love? Like, are you going to be there?
I 100% believe that you see the people that you love. I believe that you're going to be with the people that you love.
So what happens if you have 2 husbands, 3 wives? What if one passed away? You love them dearly, and you love your next one very dearly.
That's something that God's going to just have to situate for you. Sounds like a domestic
issue. He's going to sort it out.
Yeah, you're going to go to court, and God's going to be the judge, and he's going to tell you what to do.
Get up there, and he's going to be like, all right, this is clearly a sticky situation here.
Speaking of heaven, can we just talk about that Doris Day died today? And that really is like bothering me. She's a mom.
Yeah, Angela was legitimately upset this morning. She came down and said, did you hear the news?
So sad. I
Doris
love her
Day
movie
died.
so much.
Yeah, she's an icon.
I really wanted to meet her.
Yeah.
I really did.
Well, you will one day.
I hope so.
Yep. Okay. Let's see. We're still talking about Hagar here.
Okay. That sounds like a very Game of Thrones name.
Yeah, it does. Let's see. After receiving mistreatment from Sarah, Hagar fled toward her homeland. She met the angel of the Lord, who told her to return.
You sounded like Charlie Brown just then.
Angel of the Lord. He's very like mouthy. when the angel of the Lord.
That was Linus, wasn't it?
Yeah, Linus. Christmas episode. He also promised her numerous descendants through her son, who she named Ishmael. Later, Hagar and her son Ishmael were sent away into the desert, where she believed they would both die, but God is faithful and showed her. God was with the boy as he grew up. He lived in the desert and became an archer. Hagar thought she would escape her misery, but God called her to return to it. She obeyed, and he blessed her and her son just as he promised he would. So again, faithful to God, and she was blessed because of it. So she's listed. 3, Rebecca, the mother who deceived.
That's horrible.
What?
The story of Rebecca.
Tell it in your own words here.
Well, it's Rebecca and Leah, the sisters. Right?
Yeah.
Is that the numbers? Do they go Leah and Rebecca?
Well,
I'm sorry, it's Leah and Rachel.
Leah and Rachel is next.
I'm getting Rachel and Rebecca mixed up. Sorry, go ahead with Rebecca.
Rebecca was mother to Esau.
Yes, so
Rebecca was Isaac's wife.
Yes, Jacob and Esau's mother. And
they had the 2 sons.
They had the 2 sons. Isaac was blind, and she deceived Isaac into giving the birthright to Jacob, because they were twins, Jacob and Esau, and they were, according to the Bible, they were competitive from birth. That Esau was born first, but Jacob came out by holding his foot.
And of course, back then, probably even more so than now, firstborn meant everything.
They got the birthright.
I mean, firstborn got everything.
Yes.
After that, nothing.
Yeah, and it didn't matter that they were twins. Whoever was born first got the birthright. And so Rebecca, because Isaac was blind, she had Jacob put on like woolly lamb skin or like whatever, so that when Jacob touched his arm, or I'm sorry, Isaac touched Jacob's arms, he felt the hairiness that which felt like Esau. Yes. And gosh, those planes are so loud today. Sorry, guys. And so she just tricked him, and Jacob got the birthright, and then he took off out of town so that Esau wouldn't kill him, basically. And then from there came Jacob's ladder.
But it was God's promise. I think God, my son, let the curse fall on me. Do what I say. Go and get them. So, but God told her to do this, correct? Am I right about that?
That is something that I'm not aware of, and if so, I'm just forgetting that.
Well, it says
You
Rebecca.
gotta remember, I haven't like studied in depth Old Testament since high school.
Yeah.
I mean, I obviously in church and stuff, but not like in depth.
Rebecca risked deception to follow God's promise, and his plan unfolded exactly as he told her.
I don't remember it that way, but
Later, her son Jacob would wrestle with God and be given a new name, Israel. Okay.
Which is the nation of Israel was named after.
Number 4, now is your Leah and Rachel.
That's a terrible story.
So,
It's because I really feel for Leah. So Jacob went and worked for, what was their father's name? I want to say Lot. It's not Lot.
Laban.
He worked for Laban. He worked for 7 years to marry Rachel because he was in love with her. He thought she was absolutely stunning.
And Laban made him work for it for 7 years.
And put her under like intense veils, like so he couldn't see who he was marrying. Married her, slept with her that night, woke up the next morning, and it was Leah, the uglier sister.
The father had tricked him.
Yes.
Into marrying the uglier sister.
Yes. And I don't really know how you could go through the process of having sex with someone and not see their face at any point. And I would think that there would be differences in their stature or something. There would have to be something, unless he got him really drunk. Maybe he was drunk. I don't know.
I mean, all sorts of positions, I suppose.
But I mean, like, at any point walking into the room, you don't see who your new wife is?
Well, maybe they weren't completely naked, nude.
Something's just
Maybe
really...
it was dark. It was
that
a dark...
story has always just, like, really perplexed me.
It was a dark and stormy night. There was no stars, no moon.
If he thought she was so beautiful and he was just getting to marry her for the first time, you don't think he wants to look into her face and like, talk to her and, like... You know, like it's just...
maybe that just wasn't part of it. I don't know.
I don't know. Like all of it's just weird to me. Anyways, he woke up the next morning, was furious with Laban. Laban said, well, you know, like it is what it is. Work 7 more years and then you can have Rachel. And so he did. But it's always broken my heart for Leah whenever I read that story, because can you imagine how that feels to have your father trick someone to marry you? And she was truly in love with him. When you read like what she named her sons, like when the names when they're interpreted into modern day English, they're really sad names, like names that mean things like maybe with this child he will love me or something like that. Like it was she had a lot of children with him, but then he had his favorite child Joseph with Rachel, and
Rachel bore Jacob.
I'm sorry, Jacob.
No. Rachel bore Jacob 2 sons,
yeah.
Joseph and Benjamin.
Yeah, but Joseph was his favorite.
Now Joseph was the Technicolor Dreamcoat, or
yes,
yeah.
But Benjamin was the youngest.
So God blessed both Leah and Rachel with children, continuing his covenant promise with Abraham.
He had tons of kids with Leah, though.
Leah and Rachel's sons would go on to form the 12 tribes of Israel.
And can we talk about how awkward it is to share a husband with your sister? Like, I know that the whole sister wives thing is a thing, like the TV show. I've seen most episodes, but to actually be sister wives with your sister.
Well, yeah.
That's like literally spending your entire life with your sister from birth until death.
Sisters. What's the rest of it? Anyone who comes between... No, wait.
That's the part I always sing.
We're singing White Christmas.
Lord, help the mister who comes between me and my sister. And Lord, help the sister who comes between me and my man. That one, yeah.
Classic. Every Christmas time, we got to watch it. Okay. Moving on.
I'm doing the Reader's Digest here of all these stories for you.
We got 10. We're on 5, so we need to giddy up here.
Okay, what's this one? Jochebed? Or Jochebed?
Jochebed, the mother with a plan. Okay,
this is Moses' mama.
Yep, Moses' mom. Let's just get straight to it. Let's see.
She did the ultimate sacrifice, is what she did.
the Pharaoh, let's see,
The Pharaoh decreed that all of the firstborn males had to
be slaughtered
in Egypt.
He was fearing that the Hebrews were going to outnumber the Egyptians, so he made them slaves. He commanded Hebrew midwives to kill Hebrew baby boys when they were born.
As they were born, yes.
But didn't listen. Pharaoh gave another decree in Exodus number 1. Every Hebrew boy that is born, you must throw into the Nile, but let every girl live. So Jochebed gave birth to a son, hid him for 3 months. And after she couldn't hide him for any longer, she coated a papyrus basket with tar and pitch, placed the baby in it, then sent it to the reeds along the bank of the Nile. Jochebed's daughter, Miriam, so his sister, watched to see what would happen as Pharaoh's daughter went down to bathe. Pharaoh's daughter saw the basket. Her servants retrieved it for her. Inside, she found the baby boy crying. And knowing he was a Hebrew child, she felt sorry for him. Miriam, who again was Moses' real sister here, spoke up and asked if she would like her to fetch a Hebrew woman to nurse the baby for Pharaoh's daughter. Pharaoh's daughter paid Jochebed to nurse and raise the baby. So it was actually his real mom. Was unbeknownst to Pharaoh and Pharaoh's daughter, it was his real mom that was paid to
pulled
nurse
a quick
him.
one on them.
Very
smart.
But Pharaoh's daughter adopted him and named him Moses. So God blessed her plan because Jochebed was determined to find a way to save her son. Not only was her son saved from death, she was able to nurse and raise him until he was old enough to live with Pharaoh's daughter. Her son Moses went on to free the Hebrew people from Egypt, leading them into the desert toward the promised land. Obviously, Moses is a big, big Bible character. Samson's mother, number 6, the mother who followed rules. Now, this is another one where she was told she was barren and going to be childless, but an angel of the Lord appeared to her and said, "You're going to become pregnant, give birth to a son. See to it you drink no wine or other fermented drink. You don't eat anything unclean. You will become pregnant and have a son whose head is to never be touched by a razor, and that he is going to deliver Israel from the hands of the Philistines or Philistines." Samson is a story where in the Bible, extremely, extremely strong with the Lord's power, physically strong.
Most people know it as Samson and Delilah.
And and Delilah betrayed him, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
and
she was the enemy
she was
from the very beginning.
And Samson's power was in his hair and told not to take the razor to his hair. So let's see. Samson's mother knew there was something special about the angel of the Lord, but when her husband found out, he was afraid, saying that they would die for having seen the face of God. But she said she was the voice of reason, saying the angel of the Lord would not have told us these things. He would not have told us these things if he were going to kill us. God would not have killed us if he wouldn't have told us this if he was going to kill us. So she gave birth to the baby Samson. Lord blessed him. Says although some of his actions were questionable, the Lord used him mightily in his plan to defeat the Philistines. Okay, number 7, Naomi, the mother-in-law who shared her faith. Do you know this story?
Yes, Naomi and Ruth. Remember, we talked about this before we actually started recording. Naomi was the mother-in-law of Ruth. Ruth was married to her son.
She also had another
son and daughter-in-law.
another daughter named Orpah, who I keep reading it as Oprah.
It's daughter-in-law, Orpah.
I'm like, Oprah.
So Naomi's husband and both sons were killed, leaving Naomi alone with her daughter-in-laws. She told them to return to their homelands, and Orpah did, but Ruth said, no, where you go, I'll go. Your people will be my people. That's that famous biblical line that you hear so much in
It reminds me of Gilmore Girls.
Where you go,
I will follow.
Yeah. So basically, Ruth declared Naomi's God, which is our God, as her God. And, just stayed with her. And then she eventually ended up meeting Boaz, falling in love with him, marrying him, and having a child with him, maybe multiple, because that's a very Christian thing to say in the Christian world. I'm going to find my Boaz. I've heard that a lot from girls.
Do you think in that tone, in that accent?
Yeah, exactly like that.
Want to find my Boaz?
Yeah, just like that. But it's actually a very inspiring story. My personal favorite story in the Bible about a woman is Queen Esther, which that's not going to be in here because I don't know that we actually know that she had children. I don't think that that's mentioned.
Right. Okay, so you mentioned Hannah. Hannah, didn't you?
No.
Oh, okay, sorry. Number 8, Hannah, the mother who kept her promise. Let's
That's
see.
Samuel's mother.
Samuel 1, we learned the Lord had closed Hannah's womb. Let's see. The rival wife provoked Hannah continually. Oh, Hannah was married to a man who loved her very much, but also he had another wife. And this wife was able to bear children, but the Lord had closed Hannah's womb. So the wife provoked Hannah continually. But Hannah wouldn't go to the house of the Lord to pray. Her husband tried to console her, saying, don't I mean more to you than 10 sons? Hannah prayed to the Lord and wept bitterly. She's made a vow, saying, Lord Almighty, if you only look on your servant's misery and remember me, not forget your servant, but give her a son, I will give him to the Lord for all the days of his life. No razor will ever be used on his head. This common theme, no razor. In fact, she was praying so hard that her lips were moving, but no sound came out. And priest Eli thought she was drunk. So, yes, she gave birth to a son named Samuel. I'm reading ahead here. Samuel lived a life dedicated to the Lord. So here's where it gets interesting. He would go on to lead the people of Israel, anointing Israel's first and second kings, Saul and David. And David is a huge figure.
And what does that lead to? It's the lineage of Jesus.
Bingo. All
Anyways.
right. Number 9, Elizabeth, the mother who believed in miracles.
Yes, Elizabeth was John the Baptist's mother, which Elizabeth and Mary, Jesus' mother, were cousins, and they were pregnant at the same time.
It says, when Mary, the mother of Jesus, came to visit her cousin Elizabeth, the baby leapt in Elizabeth's womb. And Elizabeth was filled with the Holy Spirit. She took great joy in Mary's pregnancy and blessing from the Lord. And when it came time for Elizabeth to give birth, she named her son John. Neighbors went to confirm this with Zechariah, her husband, wrote the same name, and his mouth was opened. Everyone wondered at what the child would be, since his birth was miraculous, a miraculous birth. I didn't realize that John the Baptist's mom, or John the Baptist, was also a miraculous birth.
Well, she was up there in age too. Elizabeth was.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, I can't remember how old she was.
I didn't realize, but they're considering it also a miraculous birth.
And I don't know what the age difference was between her and Mary, because Mary was very young.
It says, of course, John the Baptist, as you all know, is another huge figure. He would go on to baptize people from their sins with water, which is where baptism obviously comes from. And of course, John the Baptist actually baptized Jesus himself. So John the Baptist prepared the way for Jesus. Are you looking something up?
Yeah, I was trying to find out how old Elizabeth was. No, not that at all. I just wanted to see how old Elizabeth was when she gave birth to John the Baptist. So one source is saying online that she was 88.
Okay.
Which that's crazy that she's cousins with Mary then, who's like, wasn't Mary like 15?
I do think she was young. Very, very young. So let's go ahead and talk about number 10. The most iconic mother in the Bible, of course, Mary.
Wow. Some people are saying that Mary could have been between 12 and 14 years old.
Wow. That's wild.
I mean,
wild.
What child? I know that God's plan's perfect, but like, what child is ready to have a child between 12 and 14 years old?
Yeah. I mean,
wow.
Clearly things were different back then.
And
obviously,
then other things are saying that she was 14 or 15. So it's not clear.
Still. Oh. It's just crazy. It's crazy to think about it.
So how old was Joseph then?
I don't know. I think he was older, wasn't he? Anyway. Okay, Mary.
Some people are saying that Joseph was 90 when he married Mary.
Oh, I've not heard of that. I was thinking he was like 20s or 30s.
I'm going to need to do some research here.
Yeah, this is opening up a whole new can of worms. Well, Mary, the mother who is blessed among women, is Mary, a virgin, pledged to a man named Joseph, was visited also by the angel Gabriel. The angel of the Lord. Don't be afraid, Mary. You have found favor with God. You will conceive and give birth to a son, and you are to call him Jesus. He will be great and will be called the Son of the Most High. The Lord God will give him the throne of his father David, and he will reign over Jacob's descendants forever. His kingdom will never end. So, of course, Mary was like, how is this possible? Holy Spirit will come on. The angel said, the Holy Spirit will come on to you. Power of the Most High will overshadow you. So the Holy One will be born, and he will be called the Son of God. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the child that you will bear. So Mary believed that God would fulfill his promise. Of course, Mary did give birth to Jesus.
Okay, so I'm doing some research here, and there's like conflicting stories. They're saying that they think Joseph was around 17. Other people are saying that they think he was elderly. But I think that the general consensus is that he was around 17 or 18. That makes me feel a whole lot better.
Mary treasured up to many things in her life, in her heart as she raised Jesus, but she also had to endure the greatest sacrifice of all time. She had to watch her son be suffered and tortured and mocked and die a cruel death on a cross by crucifixion. The Bible tells us that Mary was right there. Also, Mary Magdalene was there watching everything.
So now that we've named off our 10, what if I, kind of on topic, kind of not, if you had to tell me right now what your favorite Bible story would be, what would it be?
Oh, I don't know. Don't put me on the spot like that.
I'll tell you mine.
Okay.
And it's not anybody's what anybody's expecting. But I really like the story of Gomer and Hosea.
Gomer Pyle?
No, Hosea and Gomer, because it relates to redeeming love, and it just is like so mind blowing to me. I mean, honestly, the Bible has some of the, like, if you ever want to like read a book and have your mind blown over and over and over again by the wackiness and the weirdness, there's some crazy stories in the Bible that people just don't even realize. I mean, think about it. Truly, you have a man swallowed alive by a whale. He lives in the whale's belly until the whale vomits him up. What is it, 9 days later? I can't remember how many days. You have a man who lives through a lion's den. You have 3 men who live through a fiery furnace. Like the amount of things that happen in the Bible that are just like so impossible, but yet these people lived to tell these stories and give historical, what's the word I'm looking for? Accounts of what happened or other people did on their behalf. It's just crazy to me. So Gomer and Hosea is probably my favorite story because of redeeming love. If you guys haven't read that book, it's just like the best book ever. And Matt makes fun of it all the time, even though you do like the story.
Well, the book was good.
It was the reading of the book.
Partly that, and partly, look, without getting into like a review of the book, it just seems so impossible for.
But it is a retelling of this Bible story.
Yeah,
it really did happen, and basically, in the book, or I'm sorry, in this Bible story, Hosea was told by God to marry the prostitute Gomer, and he did. And Gomer kept leaving him over and over and over again to go back to prostitution, and over and over and over again. I don't remember how many times it was. I think it was like 2 or 3 times. God told him to go back and get her and pull her up, bring her back home with him.
And marry her. And I mean, that's like a disgrace.
No, she was married to him, and she would leave him because she missed prostitution.
Right, to go prostitute.
So God would say, go get her back and bring her home. So he would. He was faithful to God. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I like that story because it's just such a, to me, I view it as a word picture of God pursuing us, because how many times have we, as humans, turned our back on him, and God still comes after us and still loves us and still wants us, and still, even whatever we do, he still looks at us blameless. And, I don't know. I just think that that's just a really cool way to look at the way that God loves us. Yeah.
All right.
You really don't have a favorite Bible story?
Babe, I was going to move on here.
Okay, go ahead.
I mean, gosh, there's just, I don't know. There's so many. I don't think anything would be complete with Mother's Day episode without thanking our own mothers and mentioning them and how amazing they are.
Yep.
My mom, Jana, she's amazing.
My mama, Laura.
Yep.
She's upstairs right now.
Yep.
Helping us get our lives together.
Yep. So we are forever, eternally, amazing, amazingly grateful.
Eternally grateful.
To everything our moms have done for us. I mean,
Yeah.
and my mom's obviously a pillar in my life and raising me and who I am, and I know the same goes for you.
Mm-hmm.
We love our mamas very much,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously,
We wouldn't be who we are
yeah.
without them.
And then obviously, we have to thank you for being the amazing mom you are.
Me?
Yeah, you.
So I thank myself.
No, I'll thank you just for being amazing, and with everything you've been going through the last few months, and just staying strong and keeping on the course, and loving McKinley, and being an amazing mother and a wife through everything.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah. You deserve a day of not car buying.
Hey, I got my gift. I'm happy.
Yeah. But you need a day of relaxation and fun. Probably not going to happen anytime in the next 4 or 5 days, to be honest, but we will do it. And we'll find a little mother's fun day somewhere.
Yeah.
So.
But for now, I got to go do a photo shoot.
Yeah, you do. Hey, we love all you mamas out there, and you guys are just awesome, and keep on doing what you're doing. And thanks for listening to the Mother's Day episode. And, I hope it was okay with you guys listening to some of these stories. We thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Come on back next week. We'll have some new stuff. And follow us at Matt Lanter, at Angela Lanter. Check out the podcast, Instagram at Hello Baby Podcast. On Instagram, hey, call us on our voicemail, 323-544-3051. Drop us a message, and we might put it on the podcast. We love, doing that. So I think that's about it.
That's it. All right, guys, we will be back next week with a brand new episode of Hello Baby Podcast, not podcast. That's a whole different thing.
Bodycast.
All right, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.